What if I told you your hair isn't just falling out randomly? It's your body screaming at you and begging for help. It's sending you a very specific message that most doctors completely miss. Welcome to Longevity Lifestyle, where we blend ancient healing wisdom with modern science to bring you natural solutions that actually work. And today, we're diving into what hair loss really means according to Ayurveda. So stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why your hair is falling out, what it reveals about your internal health, and practical solutions to bring those luscious locks back to life. Here's the thing. Western medicine looks at hair loss and basically shrugs. It's genetics, they say. It's DHT, they say. Here's some Rogaine and good luck. And sure, those things play a role, but they're not the whole story. It's like saying your car broke down because the check engine light came on. The light isn't the problem, it's the alarm bell. And this is where people get misled, because what you've been told about hair loss is only half the truth. The ancient healing system of Ayurveda has been saying this whole time that hair loss isn't just a cosmetic issue or a genetic lottery. It's a symptom, a red flag, a giant billboard from your body saying, hey, something's out of balance here. And modern science? It's finally starting to catch up. In Ayurveda, we don't just look at hair loss as one generic problem. We look at where you're losing hair, how you're losing it, and what other symptoms show up with it. This is the part almost no one talks about. The pattern of your hair loss is a detailed map of what's happening inside your body. For anyone new here, Ayurveda references 3 fundamental energies that govern everything in your body. These energies are called doshas. Vata is air and space, the energy of movement. Pitta is fire and water, the energy of transformation. And Kapha is earth and water, the energy of structure and stability. We all have a unique combination of these 3, and when one goes rogue, things start breaking down, including your hair. So let's take a look at the 3 types of hair loss and what each one is trying to tell you. And pay attention, because most people have a mix of 2 doshas that are more prominent than the 3rd. You might recognize yourself in more than one section. First up is Vata-Type hair loss. This is when your hair becomes dry and brittle, which means it breaks off easily. You might notice thinning all over as opposed to just one spot. The hair itself feels rough and dry, almost like straw. Vata hair is basically that houseplant you forgot to water for 3 weeks. And it usually comes with other Vata symptoms like dry skin, constipation, anxiety, insomnia, gas and bloating after meals, or that feeling of being spacey and ungrounded. If this sounds like you, stay tuned, because Vata hair loss has one of the easiest fixes, and I'll reveal it in just a minute. So what's happening here? Vata has the qualities of being dry, cold, and rough. When it's excessive, it dries you out. Think about that poor plant we just mentioned. Without water, the roots weaken, the leaves get crispy, and eventually everything withers. Similarly, your hair follicles are being starved of moisture and nourishment from the inside out. And here's a fun fact. Your hair follicles are some of the fastest dividing cells in your body, which is why they're the first to freak out when something's off. All right, now let's turn up the heat, literally. Next up is Pitta-Type hair loss. It sneaks up fast and burns hot. This often shows up as the classic receding hairline and crown thinning pattern. You might also notice premature graying, and your scalp might feel warm, itchy, or inflamed. Pitta has the qualities of being hot, sharp, oily, and intense. So other Pitta imbalance signs that might also show up are things like heartburn, skin rashes, anger issues, that lovely feeling of always running hot, competitiveness, and perfectionism gone wild. Y'all know who you are. If you're the person reorganizing the dishwasher right now because no one else does it right, I'm talking to you. Now, here's something amazing. Ayurveda has been linking excess heat to hair loss for millennia, and now we've got research showing that inflammation and oxidative stress play a massive role in androgenetic alopecia, that classic pattern hair loss that most people blame on genetics. Pitta is creating too much heat and acidity in your body, and your hair follicles are getting fried. And last but not least, we have Kapha, the dosha that always pretends everything is fine until it's really not. Now, Kapha-type hair loss is sneaky because Kapha people usually have thick, luscious hair naturally. But Kapha has the qualities of being heavy, dense, sticky, and oily. So when Kapha goes out of balance, the hair becomes oily and heavy, and you get buildup on the scalp. Sometimes you'll see patchy hair loss or hair that grows back really slowly, like so slow that it feels stubborn and incredibly annoying. Other symptoms? Weight gain, sluggishness, brain fog, excess mucus, and feeling stuck in life, both literally and metaphorically. Kapha folks are the ones still thinking about starting that new morning routine 3 years later. The issue here is congestion. Too much oil, too much buildup, and clogged follicles. It's like trying to grow a garden in mud that's too thick, sticky, and suffocating. Nothing can breathe. Now, before we move on to the root causes, pun intended, leave a comment below and let me know which type resonates with you. Are you team dry and brittle, team inflamed and receding, or team oily and clogged? Okay, here's where things get juicy, because this is the part that actually changes lives. Ayurveda doesn't just stop at identifying the pattern, it asks, why is this dosha out of balance in the first place? And the answer, my friends, almost always leads back to the same place, your gut. I know, you're probably thinking, of course she's bringing up gut health again, but hear me out. One study in 2017 found a link between an imbalanced gut and sudden patchy hair loss. Another study showed that people with hair loss have very different gut bacteria compared to those with healthy hair. In Ayurveda, we call the gut the seat of health. When your digestion is strong, that means you're absorbing nutrients properly, your gut lining is intact, your microbiome is thriving, and your body can build healthy tissues, including your hair. But when your gut is a mess, when you've got inflammation, leaky gut, malabsorption, or an overgrowth of bad bacteria, your body goes into crisis mode. And guess what's not a priority when you're in crisis mode? Your hair. Your body's like, listen, we've got bigger problems right now. The hair can wait. This is why someone can take all the biotin supplements in the world and still lose hair. Because the root cause isn't a biotin deficiency, it's that your gut can't absorb the biotin, or your liver is too congested to process it, or there's so much inflammation that your body is using all its resources just to keep the peace. Or all of that together. Now we have to talk about stress for a minute because it's the silent saboteur behind so much unexplained shedding. Chronic stress elevates cortisol, which directly disrupts the hair growth cycle. It pushes follicles from the growth phase into the resting phase prematurely. There's actually a condition called telogen effluvium where some people experience up to a 70% increase in shedding after a major stressor. Surgery, severe infection, emotional trauma, all of it applies. Quick shocker, you don't lose hair during the stressful moment. The shedding often hits 2 to 3 months later, which is why people never connect the dots. Chronic stress actually shrinks the blood vessels that feed your follicles, which means less blood flow and less nourishment. And we all know where that leads, or you wouldn't be watching this video. In Ayurvedic terms, stress aggravates Vata like crazy. It creates this internal windstorm that disrupts everything. And when Vata is disturbed, it can push the other doshas out of balance too, because your body is trying to balance everything out. So you end up with this cascade effect where one imbalance triggers another. Now let's get real about hormones because they're intimately connected to all of this. DHT, or dihydrotestosterone, gets blamed a lot for male pattern baldness. And yes, it plays a role. But here's the thing, not everyone with high DHT loses their hair. Why? Because there are other factors at play. Hormones always get blamed for everything, but the truth is way more interesting. Ayurveda would say that excess Pitta makes you more sensitive to hormonal imbalances. When there's too much heat and transformation happening in the body, it amplifies the effects of hormones like DHT. It's not just about how much DHT you have, it's about how inflamed and reactive your system is to it. This is also why women going through menopause often experience hair loss. As estrogen drops, the relative ratio of androgens increases, but the women who have the worst time with it are often the ones with the highest Pitta imbalance, which translates to the most inflammation and the worst gut issues. Everything is connected. And here's a little nugget most people don't know. If your doshas are out of balance, you can have normal labs and still have massive hormonal symptoms. If you're learning something new so far, hit those like and subscribe buttons so YouTube knows this content actually helps people. Alright, here's where we take everything you just learned and translate it into actual results, starting with the easiest one to reverse, which is Vata. For everyone with fine, wispy, dry, brittle hair, you need to focus on nourishment, moisture, and grounding. Support your system with warm, cooked, well-spiced, oily foods. And when I say oily, I don't mean fried. I mean healthy fats. Make ghee, otherwise known as clarified butter, your best friend. If you're vegan or dairy-free, cook with coconut or avocado oil. On hair washing day, massage your scalp with warm sesame oil and leave it in for 20 to 30 minutes before your shower. Studies have actually shown that sesame oil has significant benefits for hair health and scalp circulation. You also want to address the anxiety and stress, because all that nervous energy is literally drying you out. Make time for grounding practices like meditation, slow yoga, warm saltwater baths, and getting enough sleep. And the most important part? Creating a routine for it all. Vata needs routine like nobody's business. These aren't just nice to have, they're medicine. For my Pitta types, or the ones with receding hairlines, widow's peaks, and an inability to turn off your brain at night, you've got to cool down the fire. Cut back on spicy foods, alcohol, caffeine, and anything that creates excess heat. Load up on cooling foods like coconut, cucumber, cilantro, and dill. And for your warm oil scalp massage, use coconut or batana oil. Both are naturally cooling and have powerful benefits for hair health. I made a couple videos all about hair oils, which I'll link on the screen at the end. You'll also need to address your anger and perfectionism. I'm serious. Pitta people tend to push until something breaks, and it's often their hair or their relationships. But that's another topic for another time. But seriously, learn to chill. And last but not least, for my Kapha types, my friends with thick, heavy, oily hair and patchy hair loss. You need to stimulate circulation and clear the congestion. Your main mission is to break up the buildup. Exercise is non-negotiable. Like I always say, you need to move to get things moving. You'll want to use lighter oils like jojoba or argan, avoid heavy, oily fried foods, all dairy, and too many sweets. All these things just add to the sludge. And honestly, sometimes you need a good detox. Kapha people in particular benefit from periodic cleansing to clear out all that buildup. Think of it as spring cleaning, but for your entire body. Now, this next bit is universal, and I cannot stress this enough. Fix your gut. Trust me, your gut has been trying to text you for years, and you just left it on red. Honestly, at this point, it's typing in all caps. Meanwhile, it's been begging you to clean up your diet, heal your gut lining, and eat more fermented foods, as they're natural probiotics. A study in Nutrients showed that specific probiotic strains can actually influence hair growth through the gut-brain-skin axis. Wild, right? You'll also want to reduce inflammation by minimizing inflammatory foods and increasing your intake of foods like turmeric, ginger, and omega-3s, which all have anti-inflammatory properties. One great thing to do is to get tested for food sensitivities, because sometimes you're eating things that are slowly destroying your gut and you don't even know it. I'll leave links in the description. Also, manage stress. Find what works for you. Meditation, breath work, walks in nature, therapy, journaling, exercise, whatever it takes to bring your nervous system out of constant fight or flight mode. And look, I'm going to be straight with you. Hair growth takes time. The hair growth cycle is 3 to 6 months minimum, so if you start implementing these changes, don't expect overnight results, but stick with it. Your body is incredible at healing itself when you give it what it needs. That's literally what nature designed it to do. You see, hair follicles only stop growing hair for good when they've turned into scar tissue, which is rare. In most cases, the follicle is still alive. It's just stressed and in survival mode. And once you fix the inflammation and the underlying imbalance, it can bounce back. Now, here's what I love about the Ayurvedic approach. You're not just slapping a band-aid on symptoms. You're actually healing an imbalance that's affecting your whole system. That means that when you address the root cause of hair loss, you don't just get your hair back. You get better sleep, better digestion, more energy, clearer skin, and more emotional stability. Your hair is just a messenger. If you found this helpful, then check out these videos right here, and be sure to share this with someone who's struggling with hair loss and feeling hopeless, because there is hope, and there is a path forward. And remember, longevity isn't luck, it's a lifestyle. Until next time.